Welcome back to Perry's Pit on James for Hire. I am Matthew Perry, and we have some news coming out of WWE. Daniel Bryan's contract has retired. We most recently had the match on SmackDown, Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan for the Universal title, and if Daniel Bryan lost, which he did, he would have to leave SmackDown for good, and he did lose. He lost via a guillotine. He passed out, and then took a rough-looking concerto, but he rides off into the sunset and is now what was once Samoa Joe, now is Daniel Bryan, the hottest free agent on the market. It's very, very interesting because we weren't sure what was going to happen here. We didn't know his contract was towards this far, towards the end at least. We knew it was coming soon, and we knew there was a decision to be made whether from SmackDown. We knew he was going to lose pretty much, but from SmackDown to NXT or even Raw, we did not expect the contract to expire on us and Daniel Bryan to become a free agent, but it's been reported by several different news outlets, Fightful, Cultaholic, even Dave Meltzer has been discussing it, and it raises a lot of questions. It makes things very, very interesting for wrestling fans and the wrestling world in general. Where does Daniel Bryan go? He's an indie legend. He's now a WWE legend, one of the greatest technical wrestlers of our generation. He has a lot of value still. He's getting up there in age and ability, although he's still putting on fantastic matches, is dwindling. Of course, a couple years ago, he even had to retire due to a neck injury, but he's back and he's been putting on a show and can definitely provide value to wherever he goes. But where will he go? There are several different options around the world: Impact, AEW, Ring of Honor, even AAA, New Japan. And I'm here to just break down where I think he'll go and where I think he fits best. I'll start with Impact. I don't think he fits in Impact at all. They could throw the entire bag at him. They could give him the key to the bank and say, hey, this is all yours. And I don't think he goes to Impact. There's not much for him. There's a couple former WWE guys, Rhino, Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, who's I think Brian Myers now, and a couple other guys, Rich Swann. But there's not much for him there. No one really matches his level. There's no other legends there to compete with. I don't see any dream matches coming out of Daniel Bryan versus any Impact superstar. So I don't think Impact really works. AAA, I don't think he fits the lucha style. Obviously, we just saw Andrade pop up in AAA and challenge Kenny Omega, which I think is going to be a fantastic match. But Daniel Bryan doesn't really have much to do in AAA. Mexico, it's a different style, lucha heavy. You gotta. He's Daniel Bryan's quick, but he's definitely more of a technical wrestler, which I think suits him elsewhere. There's not much technical wrestling in AAA, and I don't think it fits their style. So I wouldn't say AAA is the right place for Daniel Bryan. I like New Japan. I think New Japan's a good spot. There's plenty of good talent there. Will Ospreay comes to mind first that can compete with Daniel Bryan and give him a few good matches. Okada, Ibushi, several other names. And it reminds me of what John Moxley did, formerly Dean Ambrose. He left WWE, although Daniel Bryan's seemingly leaving on better terms. Moxley, Ambrose, he left on kind of rough terms because of creative control, and it wasn't great. It wasn't great at the end. But Moxley popped up in New Japan, AEW, PWG, IWGP, and it's been a very fluid motion for Moxley since, and I think Daniel Bryan could benefit from that. When you're in WWE, you're kind of tied down. You're not allowed to go work for other companies and wrestle there. But with AEW or any of those companies, New Japan included, you're kind of able to move around the world. I mean, right now, John Moxley is the IWGP champion, which is in uh, Asia, I believe. And he's a United States champion there. And he's actually defending that title tonight at Blood and Guts for AEW against Nagata, who's a New Japan wrestler. See, it's very fluid. You can hold one title in Japan and defend it in America on a completely different show. And obviously, AEW also have that partnership basically with Impact at this point. They see a lot of TV time on Impact show. So yeah, it's very fluid, much different than WWE, a lot of moving parts. And I think it could definitely benefit Daniel Bryan, give him many different opportunities, and I think it'd be something he enjoys. Obviously, retirement has to be a possibility. I mean, he's had the neck injuries, he's getting up there in age, like I mentioned, and he also has a family. I know he's expressed interest in wanting to be there for his family. Him and Brie Bella now have two kids, both one only a year or two old, and another one I want to say around four maybe. Still very young and want to spend time with their dad. So it wouldn't surprise me if Daniel Bryan hangs up the boots and goes spend some time with his kids more. But I don't think that's the kind of guy Daniel Bryan is. So retirement would surprise me. I personally think he'll keep it going. And then we have Ring of Honor, where Daniel Bryan obviously has experience there in the past. He's an indie darling. He came from indie roots, and has faced a lot of Ring of Honor alumni. I think it would put Ring of Honor back on the map, because I think Ring of Honor's kind of fallen off the radar, kind of like the NWA, in terms of top wrestling organizations. It produces a lot of talent. It feels like a developmental uh, group at this point, just because so much good talent has came from Ring of Honor. I mean, just off the top of my head, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, all those guys have wrestled in Ring of Honor. Kevin Steen, who's now Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, the list goes on and on. I think Ring of Honor would be great, helping the younger talent, kind of being that mid card guy that puts over the younger talent and puts them on the map and helps get them to where he is and where he was, where he has been. I think him helping the younger generation could be really, really beneficial to the future of wrestling. Obviously, he's a great technical guy. He knows so much. He has a very high wrestling IQ. Um, and you could say he's one of the last true wrestlers. I mean, guys nowadays, it's a lot of flips, it's a lot of gymnastics, which is very fun, which are very fun to watch. But it's a lot of spectacle and less wrestling. And I know some people love the spectacle. I love the spectacle, but I also love a little bit of technical wrestling. Chain wrestling. You're moving, you're flowing, but it's a different kind of flow. And Daniel Bryan's one of the last ones that I could really say brings that flow. And then of course there's the option of re-signing with WWE, which I guess would kind of surprise me, considering typically they re-sign the guy before their contract expires. Because I believe when the contract expires, sometimes there's a 90-day clause, but not for re-signing. Just things get complicated after the contract expires. You have to rework things. It's a whole process, and I don't see why WWE would want to go through that. So it's definitely surprising that they didn't already re-sign him if they were going to, which leads me to believe that they aren't going to. Um, but where's the best place for Daniel Bryan? I would have to say NXT. NXT is similar to Ring of Honor, although on a much higher scale, I'd say these days. They're on the USA Network. They have a lot of great talent, a lot of former indie darlings, like I mentioned, Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae. The list goes on and on. Plenty of people that Daniel Bryan could have dream matches with. I'd love to see him versus Walter. The chops on Daniel Bryan, the selling, the bruising of his chest, the swelling. If you saw a couple years ago at the Royal Rumble, Daniel Bryan, he was in there for the longest time ever. His chest after the match it was red. It was all over the place. It was a great spectacle and something that I would love to see him against Walter. I think Walter would win it. Obviously, you'd want to put him over, but that would be a fantastic match. That's towards the top of my active dream matches. That him versus Pete Dunne, both two technical guys. Him versus Johnny Gargano. Gargano is probably my favorite wrestler right now, and seeing them go at it would be really, really fun to watch. I know they've had experience against each other in the past in other independent organizations, which is always great to see. But seeing it on a stage like WWE would be even better. Raw, of course, is an option too, but I don't think Raw's problem is talent right now. They have plenty of talent. They have The Fiend. They have Randy Orton. They have Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley. They don't need talent. They need better booking. And I don't think Daniel Bryan can help with booking in any way, shape, or form. So there's not much use for him there. I think he'd almost get in the way because they have a lot of talent. It's just figuring out how to use the talent. So I don't think Raw is really the way to go when it comes to Daniel Bryan. If, like I said, if they re-sign him, we don't know. This is a kind of a weird situation and something not many of us saw coming. So it'll be really interesting in the coming days to see where he goes. It could take days, it could take weeks, it could take months. He could take some time off. He's been on almost every show the last couple months. Him and Roman Reigns and a couple other guys have been kind of carrying SmackDown. So he deserves some time off to, relax, hang out with Brie and the kids, and take time to make a decision, because I'm sure there's another offer on the table for WWE. I don't see why there wouldn't be. It's Daniel Bryan. I mean, he's kind of a WWE legend at this point, and I'm sure there will be other organizations coming and making their offers, and I'm sure there could be some convincing ones. So let me know where you think Daniel Bryan's going in the comments below. Let me know what you think is best for him, and subscribe, because I will be bringing you more Daniel Bryan content whenever he does sign, wherever the decision is. I will share my thoughts on that and any other wrestling news that comes our way. But for GMs for Hire and Perry's Pit, I have been Matthew Perry, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.